we are starting with some pretty big news that is rocking Hollywood. The Academy Awards will be leaving their home at ABC Network for YouTube. This all starts not tomorrow, not next year, in 2029. Okay, so they're gonna ride out their contract with ABC. It's being reported that YouTube's parent company, Alphabet, outbid any other offers for the exclusive airing rights with a staggering 9-figure sum. All right, so YouTube CEO Neil Mohan says that by partnering with the Academy, he hopes to inspire a brand new generation of creativity and film lovers just all online. So what do we make of this monumental change
all right,
to the Oscars?
Okay, my first thought was, of course, adapt or die, right? This is kind of the equivalent of a brick and mortar store saying, you know, we don't want to have an online component. It's like, listen, everybody's shopping online. You have to have online and you can still be brick and mortar. So I think the traditional and the new. But then I read this really great article in Variety. And it's not about that at all. It's really about freedom. The Academy for years has been at odds with the traditional television model as to how long it can be, how long the speeches are. You know, they're always rushing people in their speeches, cutting certain categories from the live broadcast. So this was actually the Academy's way of saying, no, we want complete control and freedom of our show, for it to be as long as it can be, to have every single category broadcast live so everybody can be there. But then I was also thinking about, when you take off the guardrails, it sounds good until you think about all of these creatives heading up to that stage, knowing that they don't have to worry about what the traditional television is going to say or think or cut off if they start talking about, say, Donald Trump or Palestine, right? So I'm interested to see how the people who are there are going to treat this new model where they're like, oh, we don't have to worry about ABC anymore. We can just do whatever we want.
But here's where it doesn't make sense to me, because you could still have a broadcast version of the show that airs on traditional television and have a different thing that airs on YouTube. Like, because nobody wants more Academy Awards. Like, they don't want the thing to be longer, but they do want to watch, I think it's still important to watch traditional Hollywood movies get celebrated. I think this is where we actually, to me, I'm devastated by this news.
Why?
Because I think that there's something, first of all, YouTube is a lot of trash. And to me, I think that there's something about this messaging about going over there that really, really says to me about, it marks a demise in Hollywood and Hollywood movies. I might be over-exaggerating this, but there was a time when Oscars and watching them, like, really, really meant we were all together. We had watched the movies together.
Well, we don't watch TV like that anymore.
I know that, but I think part of the reason why we don't do that is because of YouTube. So I'll stop there for a moment.
But you raise an interesting point about why wouldn't we have a main broadcast feed and a YouTube feed. But most people in the US are watching YouTube on their TV screens anyway. Most people aren't differentiating between watching YouTube on their phone and watching it on a TV. And to me, this is all about merging the entertainment ecosystem with the creator ecosystem. Who does my kid look up to? YouTube creators. He's fallen in love with this guy named Mark Rober, who has millions and millions of followers. So my thinking is this: they're trying to recruit new viewers to the Oscars. This show has been on its deathbed since the mid-90s. That's when viewership peaked. It's not a money-making venture anymore. They're trying to bring in the new. So might they use creators to provide a live stream second screen experience? Why? You could still watch. Listen,
I appreciate that your very young child watches TV differently than I did. But listen, they have to adapt today. They can't wait. Listen, when I was your child's age, I was not watching the Academy Awards.
But I don't either. To be clear,
I didn't start watching well into my 20s. They have to adapt today. The ratings are dipping every single year right now.
I think we sound old if we diminish YouTube creators and the power that they bring. And you could have multiple streams of the same broadcast and bring in multiple new groups of viewers.
Can we not just have it on the platform and not include the streamers and let the streamers do what they do and let it die?
We don't know. I think we're all making assumptions, but yes, the move to streaming is simply to follow the technology for sure. And same thing, my daughter doesn't watch traditional television. I mean, I make her watch The Social on CTV. Okay, but she watches YouTube on our television. When you ask her,
this is part of the problem, parents. Sorry, you keep going, but this is part. This to me, this is not allowed in our house, and I'm not trying to judge you, but I've seen this happen in households. For us, we still make movie night a night where we actually watch the movie. We don't watch YouTube on our TVs because, to me, TV is still important. We work in this domain. Don't we want to hold it up?
Yes, we are also streaming on Crave.
I know we are.
Correct. Because we have to adapt.
And YouTube.
We have to adapt. Here's the bottom line for me. me. The problem I have is, and this is going to be a big experiment. We don't know how this is going to go. We do know that the ratings for the Oscars have been going down, down, down. We know that the demographic of who is watching the Oscars is getting older and older and older. There's a thing called death. We're all going to die. And the younger generation, they are not watching the Oscars the way that maybe we used to. The question I have is, when they go over there, will the thing that we grew up with, which is appointment television, must-see TV, there's only a handful that exists now. Maybe the Super Bowl, maybe the Oscars.
Even the NFL has done a deal with YouTube.
So my point is, does appointment television as we know it, the way it used to exist on television, will that translate to the very landscape that created fragmentation? That is online life. We don't know.
We don't
I
know.
know,
We don't
have to
know.
wait and see, but
We
I
don't
think
know.
it's a smart move. I think it's a smart move. All right, sticking with movies for a moment, the trailer for a new documentary called Melania has been released. The doc was directed by Brett Ratner and follows the First Lady in the days leading up to the 2025 presidential inauguration. Now, the film promises unprecedented access and exclusive footage of meetings and never-before-seen moments. So, we like, we don't like, we don't like. Okay.
I can't even watch this ironically. Like, I will not put my money towards this in any, even if there is a couple of laughs, I'm not supporting this. I don't want it to take off. This cost $40 million, and according to
Who paid for it?
I know.
Yeah.
I mean,
You
probably
already-
taxpayers did.
You
I don't know.
You know who paid for it.
Listen, guys, worse than that is, according to the Wall Street Journal, she herself is making $28 million of that. So I want to know if this is a documentary or is she getting paid as an actress to play the role of Melania? What is this?
Or maybe this is her exit money so that when she leaves, she has a nice
Yeah,
little nest egg to
well-
land on. You know what I'm saying?
That's right.
28 million is comfortable living.
To
Saying.
me, here's the thing. I don't, like she says, people want to know. Who wants to know?
Who's people?
Melania,
I do. Who's people?
And here's the thing, like, I'll be honest, she's unlike any other first lady in the history of the United States of America for many, many reasons. But the real reason why I don't care at all about Melania is that all the other first ladies, they always espouse a cause and they give back to the community somehow. She had her Be Better, anti-cyberbullying, or Be Best, whatever. But to me, that, like, I don't know, nobody's talking about that. To me, you are the first lady. You are a woman and you are an immigrant. Two groups that your husband is targeting with the most severe policies I have ever seen. Inhumane, whether it's forced births, whether it's ICE detentions, and you say nothing, I don't want to hear one thing about you.
I get it. I'm gonna disappoint all of you. I'm gonna disappoint my mom and dad. But listen, I'm gonna watch it. I'm not gonna go to the theater. I'm gonna stream it at home. I'm gonna watch it like a $40 million comedy.
You're gonna pay
It's gonna stream. I already paid for the service. I'm gonna watch it like a
You're gonna wait till it goes on
$40
stream.
million comedy because I want to see if she has a
Comedy.
subversive sense of humor. You brought up the Be Better campaign, Be Best, whatever it's called. She must
know
have a
what it
sense
is.
of humor to have an anti-cyberbullying campaign when she's married to the world's biggest cyberbully. Do you remember? Do you guys remember Inauguration Day when she wore that "Don't Kiss Me" hat? And he tried to lean in. Remember this? Nope. Nope. My hope is that this woman has a sense of humor, and this documentary reveals that.
Listen, I hope you're right, but I don't think she's laughed a day in her life.
Oh, no. You know what? She did laugh as soon as that check got cleared for $28 million.
Well, let's move on to this because some Mariah Carey fans were treated to a surprise at a recent holiday show in Las Vegas when they saw another queen of pop in the audience. Rihanna was seen living her best life in the crowd, propped up on a chair dancing and blowing kisses to Mariah. But this move made it difficult for the person behind her to see, so the fan asked Riri to sit down. So who was in the wrong here?
I mean, guys, like, if you take the Rihanna part of this out of the story, Rihanna was in the wrong. Like, I get, like, you can't.
Can you take the Rihanna out of the story?
I know it's hard to, but if it was anybody else, if you're at a concert and someone's standing on their chair, they're not just standing, they're standing on their chair. You'd be irritated. You'd be irritated. You just would be. It's not right.
You know what you'd also be if you're the person who's irritated? You're part of the SDV, the sit-down vigilantes. And to them, I say, this is not court, this is not church, this is a concert. I spent a lot of money because the concerts are very expensive, and I want to give my energy and dance and get all of that out. And how many times have I've talked to a lot of artists who said, you know, it's really hard when you're on stage giving your all, you're singing every note, you're dancing every step, and the audience is sitting there like this.
Oh, I hate that.
And so in my head, I think what Riri's doing as an artist and a fan is she's giving the love that she likes to see fans give her when she's on stage, because she understands the importance of giving that energy back. Like, I hear you, Mariah, hit that note, girl. So that's
You're
what
all
I think
doing
she's...
that right now, sitting down. You can do a
No.
Listen, this isn't the exact same.
It's not exactly the same.
Can I add to that though? Like, listen, I get what you're saying. Like, standing would suck. When I took my daughter to see Taylor Swift, the guy that was in front of us was 7 feet tall. And he kept saying, I'm so sorry. So I said, to the lady behind us, is it okay if my daughter stands on the chair?
But she's
she's
that
tiny.
tall.
Yeah, but the whole point was they were like, yeah, the lady behind us was sitting. She could have come at me and be like, well, can you get your daughter off the chair? I'll be like, ma'am, can you tell the 7-footer to sit down?
Yeah.
Like, it was a whole thing.
If everyone
but I will
just
say
sat
this.
down, you could
No, but
just...
then it
depends.
I want to just jump on what you said.
Do you want to attend?
Sorry.
She's a hippie. What do we know?
One's where you
I just
sit
wanna
and
jump-
it ends at 8 p.m.
I
That's
just
what
want to jump
Cynthia
on what
wants
you
to
said
do.
there, because if you saw what Rihanna was doing, right? She was showing her the love. She was on the chair. She obviously probably wanted Mariah to see, it's me, Rihanna, mwah, like this. But you know what she wasn't doing? She didn't have her phone up. And so I'm going to say this as a fan. There's one thing to have someone standing. She actually did get down, and eventually everything was fine. But I've got to tell you, if you're an artist, I would be really ticked off if the entire show, all I saw was not your face, but your phones.
Yep.
So Rihanna was in the moment, at least enjoying the music.
You're right. I'd rather be distracted by someone dancing than everybody holding up their phone, because that is more distracting than anybody standing on a chair, SDV.
But doesn't it also depend on reading the room? Like, I went to an Amanda Marshall concert recently at Massey Hall, and it was amazing and intimate, and everyone was seated. Not a single person had a phone out, and that was the vibe.
Yes.
But I went to a Chicks concert at the amphitheater outside. We were standing because it's the Chicks. You're not listening to Not Ready to Make
chairs?
Nice, and you're sitting.
Yeah.
You're standing. But the people behind us asked us to sit down. It was incredibly awkward because one of them was in a wheelchair. But they hadn't paid for accessible seating. So it does present an awkward scenario because everyone was standing in front of us, so we couldn't see. So what do you do in that situation, right?
It's different. You gotta sit down. That's different.
Sad. Anyway, to something different now. This viral social media show, it's called Subway Takes. It shared a hilarious hot take on potlucks recently. Take a look.
So what's your take?
Either invite me for dinner or don't, but potluck. I gotta go to the store, pick up a tabbouleh salad, bring it home, put it in a Tupperware to make it seem like I made it, bring it to your house. It's enough.
That's easier
And by
than
the way-
cooking, Robbie.
By the way, no offense, if you don't got no food at your house, maybe you're not in a position to be inviting people over.
Robbie is on hacks. They are amazing. Okay, but do you agree our potluck dinner is actually kind of the worst?
Are they the worst? No. I'm going to represent here. First of all, y'all know I'm Filipino, and guess what we do? We do potlucks. And you know what? We win the Oscar for potlucks, okay?
Wow. But that's...
Obviously, for a lot of cultures, food is love. And for us, I'm going to tell you what happens at a potluck. It takes the burden off of the 1 or 2 moms that are normally the ones that are slaving away in the kitchen all day, all week prior, leading up to the thing. And you know, we talk about the holidays, it's the magic of Christmas. No, the magic is made by women and mothers. And so if I say, in this case, if I'm inviting you over and my love language is food, it's because I'm showing you love. And you know what? Lean into the disjointed chaos of a potluck. It's love and it's food.
love it?
I mean, if I was invited to Grelo's family potluck, I'd be terrified.
Yes, you
Because
would love it.
Because I'm not a good cook. I'd be like, can I bring napkins?
No.
Does booze count? Like, is
Sure.
everyone in your family a good cook? Because potlucks are tricky for those of us that don't cook. What do you bring?
Yes, you can bring something and we'll just be like, well, happy at the gesture.
Thank you.
Yes.
No, that's not true. They're gonna judge. Don't let her fool you. They're gonna judge you hard. You saw that table. Listen, that's not the potluck that I have a problem with. Because first of all, it's family. Everybody knows each other. Everybody everybody knows who does what well. I'm talking about the ones at work where, you know, we had a chef on the other day who said, you know, we eat with our eyes first. And oftentimes when I see a potluck, my eyes are like, no, thank you. Because it's a mishmash of different containers. And then here's the uncomfortable part that I'll say out loud. You know, we spend 40 to 60 hours with our peers at work. And you know everybody's habits. You know who has that dry cough that never goes away? You know the person who never washes their hands when they leave the bathroom? So if there's a potluck and Linda in accounting, I know she doesn't wash her hands. I'm like, which one did Linda make? Because I'm not doing it. I'm not eating that. So let's just be 100%. Not all potlucks are created equally.
No, I'm with you. I'm with you. I think they're always it's a mishmash of like weird flavors and tastes, and you're always just gonna go. We know we've been at that potluck where everything is gone from one area, and then there's like a few sad dishes that nobody wanted to touch.
Yeah.
That's right.
What about a themed potluck? Does that solve the lack of cohesion?
Yeah, what's
well,
the
this
theme?
Christmas I'm doing a dipmas, where you just bring a dip and dippers.
Okay.
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Where's the meal? Where's the meal? You let us know how that goes, Kate. Okay. So, Quebec school insurers have released guidelines on how snowbanks should be built in schoolyards. So I don't know why I'm already laughing about this story. Regulations recommend that hills used for sliding should be no more than 3 meters high and have a moderate slope of only 25%. We pulled this straight from the documents. Helmets should also be recommended if snowbanks could not meet the outlined criteria. Okay, we want to keep our kids safe. We get it. Is this going too far?
I think so. And I think the collective cringe is because we're all, myself included, worried about raising snowflake kids who have no resilience, who are wearing helmets to school in order to safely slide down snowbanks. It sounds a bit crazy. But I will say that I blame parents a little bit. If you actually dive into this story, this was created, and by the way, it's a recommendation, it's not a binding rule. This was created to, quote, avoid complaints from parents and potential lawsuits. And I think we're in this culture now where parents, under the guise of advocating for your kid, like to complain about a lot of things. And if you ask any of your teacher friends, you wouldn't believe the complaints they get. I went on a Reddit thread to find some of them. One was, my 14-year-old son burned his finger on hot glue. He's 14. One was, gym class is too early at 9 a.m. Can you switch it? So I kind of understand why, if parents are gonna make complaints like this, school boards are gonna wanna do everything they can to keep kids safe, even if it sounds absolutely bizarre.
Is it to keep them safe or is it to avoid litigation?
That's right.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
right.
I'm really, really frustrated by this because I get it. And here's the only reticence I have. Yes, parents, we are to blame, okay? But in the name of overprotection, I think we are also putting our kids in danger by overprotecting them. So there is a risk. So I'm gonna keep quoting him in his book Till the Day I Die. Jonathan Haidt, who wrote The Anxious Generation, he says, we are in a crisis of what he calls safetyism. This is an unhealthy obsession with safety to the detriment of our children. And so, and I know why we're saying yes, because it's the way that we were all raised. You know, I look at my daughter. She doesn't have any scars, no nicks, no bruises. You know what I look like at her age? I look like I went through a meat grinder. You know why? Because I was living my life as a child. You fall, you break things. I don't know any kids of her age that have even fallen and like, everyone in my class broke their arm or leg. Everybody.
I think
so to me, it is a parental thing, but I also want to be careful because I don't want another reason to blame moms.
That's where my brain goes, because I don't think it's just the parents on their own in isolation. It's the 24-hour news cycle. That didn't exist when we were growing up. It's also the social media. You cannot extricate those two things, because anytime there's a meme and we hear a story about a kid who came to some devastating end at a playground, I remember some of those stories from my childhood that you would hear about, just that were urban legends, right? We heard enough of those or seen the videos or whatever, so that we do become extra paranoid. I think parents have the best of intentions. I want to know about where the urban planners come into play for this.
What do you mean? What do you
Because
mean?
I'll just say there's a park in my neighborhood where all the houses, it's a fairly new neighborhood, are on a level, right? And then someone came in and constructed a park and it goes down. Immediately when you have a
Like a
hill.
bowl.
Yeah, it's a bowl. And that's where the playground, whatever you call it, the jungle,
apparatus and
whatever
all
you
that
call it, the apparatuses. As soon as you have a hill, you are going to have children in winter who congregate and want to go. Not only that, there are lights in this that are on these concrete pillars down in the middle. So what?
Right at the end of the snow hill.
Yes, exactly. So the city, of course, this is a huge danger. So the city now has gone in and they've put around these like crazy
Mattresses?
almost basically around there because you don't want that to happen. But I want to know, was there a mom in the room when you guys were deciding on
Pop's
this?
a good
That
point.
part.
Here's the deal.
It's a good point.
I'm gonna defend this only because, common sense is not that common, and I'm gonna calm myself out. So I, in the attempt to be the cool auntie, took my cousins, 2 very young children, to this hill that my dad took me to. There's a famous hill in Toronto. It's a great toboggan hill. And I thought, these kids are gonna love me.
How
Their
old?
parents.
How old?
Oh, they were like 6, and the other one might have been 9. Yeah, 9, 10. The little one was not even 50 pounds. But I was like, you know what? I'm gonna be cool. We're gonna go to this hill. We're gonna have a good time. And then I watched them go down the hill, and the little one at times was at least 4 feet in the air a couple times. But then she would hit the ground real hard, and I'd pause, and then she'd just bounce up and she'd just shake it off. And I'm like, okay, she's all right. So we leave, everybody was okay. And then that same week, I remember watching the news, and the news story was that there are 4,300 sledding injuries in Canada every year. 500 of those kids end up in the ER, 40% have fractures, and some have traumatic brain injuries. We need these guidelines for the people like me who are not thinking because I thought, I did it in my generation, it's fine. No, it's not. It's not fine. It was never fine.
There you go.
Find
Put the
the
helmet
balance.
on. Put the helmet on.